Hi everyone, today we're going to do something a bit different. We're going to do fighting fantasy. Well, we're going to listen to someone else doing fighting fantasy. It's in the shape of a new podcast from Tom Bartlett entitled A Mug's Gamebook. It's a good name. I've listened to the current episodes and they do sustain the quality throughout. They're no means boring, and at the end I was rooting for the player to throw a decent luck score so as not to lose any more stamina. I particularly like the way the discussions will fly off at a tangent into some funny anecdotes. All the players get an extra life, which is a good idea as the books can be pretty ruthless and any mistakes can be rectified without ending the gameplay too soon, and thus the podcast. The way Tom reads the passages fits in perfectly, and he acts as a dungeon master when the players' guests have a question. It's really atmospheric with sound effects and music, things like rain, footsteps and sword sounds and even heads being cut off. Dice rolls are present so as not to distract from the way the books should be played, which can cause some hilarity. Currently there's the introduction and rules, which is short and sweet and gets to the point. It introduces or reintroduces the listener to the rules and regulations of fighting fantasy. There's also 2 episodes up, which episode 2 is Caverns of the Snow Witch with guest Jack Howard, and episode 3 is House of Hell, which is actually one of my personal favourites, with guest Josh Pieters, and they're both brilliant to listen to. So without further ado, I will pass you on to Tom, who will explain the rules, and also after that there'll be some examples from the 2 episodes. So anyway, I hope you enjoy and see you later.
Hello there, my name's Tom Bartlett and this is A Mug's Gamebook. It's a podcast in which I play through my old Choose Your Own Adventure gamebooks with cool people. The games that we'll be playing through are Ian Livingstone and Steve Jackson's Fighting Fantasy series, and I used to love these when I was a little kid. I used to like rummage around charity shops for them. For those of you who are unfamiliar, they're sort of halfway between like a novel and a video game, and my guest will be using dice or making decisions about where the story goes and, well, you know, choosing their own adventure. Now I'm going to be going through the rules here. You don't necessarily need to know these. Just listen to it, enjoy it, it'll be fun. But if you're curious, I'll go through them here. Now on our adventures, our guests will be having loads of like battles with monsters and gribblies and stuff. To do this, they'll make use of 3 basic stats. You've got your skill, your stamina and your luck. They're all pretty self-explanatory really. Skill is how good you are at fighting or how quick you are at jumping out of the way when you're attacked. Stamina is your health, and luck is how lucky you are. Before every game, my guest will roll a dice to determine each of these stats. For skill, we roll 1 dice, add 6 to it and get a number between 7 and 12. For stamina, we do the same but roll 2 dice, add it to 12 and get a number between 14 and 24. And for luck, we roll 1 die, add it to 6 again, and that gives us our initial stats. Now your stats will go up and down throughout the adventure. You get hurt in battles, you might get cursed and it will make you unlucky, or you drop your sword down a well and lose a load of skill. But while they'll go up and down, they can never go above this initial score. So rolling high is really handy. Now for fighting battles, both the guest and me will roll 2 dice each. They'll roll for themselves and I'll roll for whatever monster they're fighting. What we do is add those dice roll results to our skill scores. Whoever gets the highest wounds the other one, usually taking off 2 stamina per wound. We do that back and forth until one of us dies, runs out of stamina. Hopefully me, because I'll be the monster. Luck works slightly differently. At various points throughout the story, our guest will be asked to test their luck to determine the outcome of a situation. To do this, they roll 2 dice and have to get a total under their luck score. So if their luck score is 9 and they roll a 7, well hey, they're lucky. They roll a 10, not so much. Luck can also be used in battles. At any point, our guest can choose to test their luck. If they've wounded an enemy and they're lucky, they really can get them, and the wound takes double the stamina, reducing it by 4 instead of 2. If they're unlucky, just a graze, and it only goes down by 1. Same thing happens if the player's wounded. They can test their luck, and if they're lucky, shrug it off, only take 1 damage. What are you worried about? Unlucky, however, they take 3 instead of 2. That's really handy, right? Sounds like something you'd use a lot. The interesting thing about luck is that every time you use it, your score reduces by 1. So it's diminishing returns. It gets harder each time you use it. So if you spam it all in one battle, you're making life a bit harder for yourself down the road. You might need it in a tight spot. Now, because I'm a warm-hearted individual and these books can be pretty ruthless, I'm going to give all our guests an extra life just because no one wants to listen to it if they die in 15 minutes. And that's the main gist of the rules, really. Each book will have some additional ones, like some will have potions that can restore some stats or spells that do certain things. Some of them have provisions that are basically food that restores some stamina. But we'll cover those when we get to them in the podcast. Don't worry if it's sort of gone over your head. When you listen to the podcast, it'll all make perfect sense. You don't even need to know these. Just enjoy the magical adventures. Peace.
Coming up in this episode.
People's elbow!
Bam! And he's dead.
The crowd goes wild.
Chop his head clean off.
Snake eyes. I've got 6. Take that, Yeti bitch.
Get out. Dinner will not be ready for another 2 hours.
Do you like that one?
Yeah, I do that one, yeah.
I feel like we're in a porn film.
Coming up in this episode.
In one foul swoop, he's gonna cut my head off. I haven't used a rubber in a while.
But there is no sign of a body.
You can die of fear. I want to just see what's going on in there. Okay. I'm scared there could be something going on. You gotta just sometimes run past the goat. But I've just rolled that. 4.
Hi again, everyone. So you probably guessed already, this is a fun, easy to listen to podcast, loads of atmosphere, something you can take to bed, fall asleep to, and it's better than most of the stuff that you'll find on Audible, at least from my experience. Yeah, definitely one to try out. You can download, you can stream, you can do all that sort of stuff. No, really good. I think Tom's done well, and hopefully looking forward to the next few episodes. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.